Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Right there. Just get moved around. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so you all got the minutes from Casey for August 14th meeting. Did everybody, were there any corrections or changes?
You already made them.
Yep, so may I have a motion to approve? Bill motions, can I have a second?
I'll second.
Mandy seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, treasurer report, over to you, Carol.
I'd like to pay G&G 2,230, rent 150, Town of Cape Vincent 155.25 for admin assistant. We had 503.85 come out by debit on 8/29 for the image package, which is over there behind you and looks really good.
Very nice.
Dave. I would like to pay the Great Lakes Fishing Expo for Stacy to attend. So that's a key of yes or no from you guys. We had a legal notice in TI Sun for 2316, and Stacy wants to be reimbursed for business cards and rat cards, 155.76, and then Stacy's monthly pay, which is 2166.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
Second. Does anybody have any questions on the fishing expo?
Obviously, that's just our fee to.
For her to
there.
go,
That'll
right?
be
There'll
other
also be
expenses
travel. The
involved.
travel will come out of the 2026 budget. They should have over 5,000 attendees. It's on the border with Ohio. So we think it might be a good way to expand out the knowledge of Cape Vincent and this fishing destination. Should I have 3 checks for Stacy? Because I have 2.
I put the two together of the.
Got it.
business
Thank
cards.
you. That's why I was questioning. Okay, so Dave, I think you motioned to pay the bills?
Yes.
And can I have a second?
Second.
Kathy seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So that's all we had on the agenda. I want you guys to think about next year. So you all know that I'm running. I don't know if I'll win or not. I will say that whether I win or lose, I will not be the chair next year. If I lose, I would like to continue to serve on the board, but I don't want to be the chair anymore. I've been the chair for 4 years, and I think it's a really good idea for us to have a different leader occasionally, just to have a different point of view on how the things run. So I bring that up. So we will have potentially 2 seats open. We'll have Carol and we'll have me. Mandy, you're the 3rd person who is due to be done with the term, and you could re-up. Have you made a decision on that yet?
I haven't.
Okay. So yeah, the sooner you can. I mean, hopefully not. We would love for you to stay on, obviously. But what I'd like everybody who is still on the board to consider, would you be willing to step up into the chair position? I'm happy to make sure either way that the transition is incredibly smooth, but I do think it's just time for a new person to take the leadership role. Okay, so I want everybody to know that so you could start thinking about it. Anybody else have anything for the good of the team?
Well, did we want to talk about the economic and the housing study? Those two?
Yeah, we can. And Kathy and I did have a call with because she had some questions yesterday with Jay and Nicola. So Kathy, do you want to brief them on our call and then?
Yeah, what my primary concern was that I saw that perhaps the scope of work and the 2 proposals we got from J&J might overlap with the scope of work in the comprehensive plan. And I was concerned that if we started paying and started initiating those overlapped areas, we might not be able to get reimbursement. So what we did is we had a conversation with Jay and Nicola, and they basically explained there is no overlap, which is a good news. Then we also talked a little bit about sequencing and whether there was a benefit to having one or the other going before the other. And one of the things that Nicola talked about was that, in fact, the economic study has a housing component. She felt it also would be a very good complement to the comprehensive plan because it would bolster and support it. And that, the housing study could be done at a later time if that's we decided to do so. So those were my primary concerns, and we had, again, a very productive conversation with them. Basically, I asked them very point blank, I said, so are you telling me that, if we did any of the scope of work, we would not be able to get reimbursed? Because it's not part of the comprehensive plan, and she assured me that was the case. So again, I was more concerned about incurring costs that we couldn't get reimbursement for, when in fact, we might have been able to get reimbursement for. So that was essentially the substance of our conversation.
You're saying you would be able to get reimbursed?
No,
We would
no,
not,
we would
we would
not.
not, because it'd be,
There's no overlap,
Yeah,
because
gotcha.
it really is, although the information and data we'll get from that study will support
Right.
the comprehensive plan. So again, I was just more concerned about an overlap and not being able to get compensated for it, because we did it prior to the award of the grant. But again, it was a very productive and very good conversation.
so at least those people who responded to sort of from an email temperature check, everybody sort of liked the economic development / housing, but not everybody responded. So,
And I hadn't responded, but I'm feeling very comfortable and very confident that that's the right way to go.
Carol, did
They
you,
discuss the comprehensive plan first? So you could,
What,
because that to me, I hope we get the grant.
yeah,
If we don't, I think that still should be our focus.
well, and I think, Dan, my hope is, and you were part of the interviewing that we did of the potential vendors, the grant writing position. This is filler work, right? So if we don't get the comprehensive plan, we can pivot, right? I mean, we could pivot on that. If we found, 3 grants that we were like, oh my gosh, we need them to work on these and not continue to work on this economic development, we just tell them, put that on the back burner, right? And focus on these. So this is like,
Well, my concern is if you apply for grants without an overlying comprehensive plan, it hurts you.
well, yeah, and ours is dated 2012. So we all know it has to be done.
Right?
I think the whole idea is, that's why we were urgent to try to apply for that grant, right? So
No,
we could get it.
I agree with all
So,
that.
yeah, but I think we're saying the same thing.
I'm
I
not
think-
sure, I'm not sure if you are. I mean, I think, first of all, I think this is not just fill work. Again, I think it will complement the comprehensive plan.
Yeah,
Are you essentially asking whether we should essentially save the hours from G&G
I think
for
I-
the comprehensive plan?
My
Because,
opinion is focus on the comprehensive plan first before anything.
so you would not want them necessarily to do any work on the other studies until we know about the plan? Because that,
No, it depends on time.
yeah,
And when are we gonna hear about the conference?
December.
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 Oh,
So they would just be starting some of the initial investigations,
But-
right?
but
Based on
yeah,
the
but also
proposal.
keep in mind that based on the value of the, I think what's $100,000 is the grant.
Yeah.
Given that those numbers, we are required to go for a, competitive bidding situation. We have to send out requests for proposals. G&G apparently will submit a proposal on that regard. So there is time, there's gonna be a lag there. And I would hate to think that we didn't take advantage of developing some of this data, which it sounds like will be very useful as just waiting for that comprehensive plan. And we also talked about their bandwidth. If things started heating up and everything like that, and Jay assured us that they're growing, they have the staff, and if they don't have the staff, they'll bring somebody on. So that we can do as much as we can and take as much advantage of the negotiated rates and contracts we have right now.
Yeah,
Because
I'm all for filling the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and
But
I
no, but I think
think
you
too,
have raised a very good point
yeah,
about,
and
we want to
they
save.
made it sound like there's a sequencing, and that some of this work they'll do on economic development makes sense to update the plan.
Yeah,
But it wouldn't be something that would be required for the plan.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Not to mention, the work that they're going to do is gonna help them get up to speed on what we are as a community, right? Because I mean, they haven't done anything, they did that one survey for the town, but they haven't done anything in a few years for us. So having them understand more about us,
DRI was pretty extensive.
right? And that was, what, is that 4 years ago now? 5 years
Yeah.
ago?
Probably.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
had New York forward for 2.
Right,
Like,
so, and
yeah, probably 4 years.
yeah, so I mean, it'll just bring them, so they've got to come up to speed anyway, and if we can get some usable data out of them getting up to speed, I think that might, well, how do others feel?
I agree. I think if we get the grant, we get it announced if they actually are on time,
Mhm.
announcing when they.
Yeah, well, there you go.
It
There's that,
could be,
yeah.
it could be July before we know how the grants are. So if we get it in December, it is, I agree, it's gonna take some time. And then we have to bid it. So I think we might as well use the time they have. If they're not doing this, what are they doing for us?
Yeah, I mean, it's
That'd be my
a
question.
salaried position, right? So gathering data for us just feels to me like I'd like them to be gathering data. And plus, it's bringing them up to speed on us as a client at the same time. So we'll get.
But I agree, if they end up winning this other grant and they need to pivot some of our stuff,
Well,
I
yeah,
think
that
that's
was
okay.
and that's always been the discussion with them, right? That we would be able to pivot.
Yeah, I just think they could start working on the comp plan now.
Yeah, I think the thing is,
That's all that's just
yeah.
my opinion, because
So
if we're
if-
gonna apply for grants in the spring,
That needs to be wrapped up pretty quick.
it might not have to be finished, but if we're in process, that goes a long way when they.
But
look
if
at-
they start working on the comprehensive plan now, we're not gonna be able to get reimbursed for it if we get the grant, because the work was done prior to the award of the grant. You see what I'm talking?
Again,
and
it's
and I'm-
contracted out. I just think. again,
Yeah, no,
my
but-
opinion,
But no, I think everybody really agrees, it really comes down to what we're talking about, is the timing and how we can best utilize this time prior to the award of the grant. And whether, like I said, whether we could seek recoupment of payments for comprehensive plan, if they're incurred prior to the award of the grant, and that apparently is not the case.
yeah, I don't know if you're gonna get reimbursed for review of the current plan. I don't.
Yeah.
If we don't get the grant for the comprehensive plan,
Mhm.
do we need to pivot and have them do the comprehensive plan then?
Mhm.
I think
Well, I
they
think
would be ideal.
Yeah,
But
So
we
maybe
have,
that's
we
what
have to
we-
go out, we have to go out for bid
Okay.
Right.
because of the value.
Okay, okay.
So we're, we can start, I mean, I suppose right now, if the consensus is we will go forward with comprehensive plan regardless of whether we get the grant, maybe we should start putting together the RFP now. There's no reason why we couldn't, is there?
If we don't get the grant, I'm not in for waiting another year and reapplying a year from
No.
now.
So does everybody sort of feel the same way?
I mean, that's my opinion. I just feel
yeah,
that.
I think, it's starting the RP now, Kathy's a great suggestion.
So why don't, maybe we're gonna hold on that plan, the economic plan, and.
Well, I
have them-
think
or
we
you
just
could-
have them start working on it, right? I mean,
This
because, I
information
mean,
will
they're
feed
gonna,
into
they're
the
not gonna charge us for submitting an RFP for the comprehensive plan, as would anybody else, right?
Right.
They couldn't charge us
Okay, well,
hours
then,
for that.
yeah, then.
It would be a separate book of business.
Then what they said is basically the RFP is already embodied in the comprehensive
is.
plan.
It is,
So all we have to do is pull it out, put it in the form and
right.
send it on out. So
How do others feel about that?
I think it's a good,
I think it's a good idea. What is the cost gonna be to do a comprehensive plan, and do we have that in our budget for next year? Because I don't think.
Well, I think we'll be able to see,
If
mean,
we don't get the grant.
the budget shows that,
It
right?
does,
It
yeah.
shows us taking $100,000.
$10,000, which is the 10% cost match for the smart growth comprehensive plan.
But
grant.
that's if we get the grant. If we don't get the grant, the LDC can't afford the $100,000 to.
But we don't
could.
know that it would be at the 100,000.
No.
anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot.
Right, no, yeah, I'm just using the numbers.
The
Yeah,
big thing
right.
is to keep people together that'll sit on a committee and go through it, because it's a lot.
Mhm.
I like the idea of the RFP at this time. I think
Mhm.
that's a.
Why
smart
wait if
idea.
we want to do it no matter what? I thought maybe you wanted, we weren't gonna do it unless we got the grant. But if we're gonna do it no matter what, let's go forward with the RFP.
I think it's critical.
Okay, I think we all.
Don't you?
Yeah, I agree. totally.
We all
Gotta
do,
get
I mean,
done.
that's
can
why
always
we
turn it-
applied for the
We can always
grant.
turn it off if we decide that it's too much more, the bids come in and. then
Well, if we get all our RFPs and they're, $500,000, we're in trouble, then no. But if we're, at a lower number, why not?
My guess is that, G&G will come in at $100,000. That's what.
I
they'll
don't,
come
well,
in.
I don't think that cost seems crazy high to me, based
Yeah.
on what we paid
Especially
previously,
when,
which I
but-
can't
but-
remember.
it's
what
a
it was.
But then we're gonna negotiate with them to see if we can use some of their contract amounts
Exactly.
to pay for that. So there's a lot of things we can do to help us defray those
So,
costs.
so just to wrap that up. So do we have a motion on the floor? You guys can come in, no problem. can we have a motion on the floor to get a small group of people to do the RFP for the comprehensive plan?
So moved.
And can I have a
I'll
second?
second.
And I've got a second. All in favor? Aye. Nobody's opposed? No. Now, who would like to work on that? Kathy, I know you want.
I knew she was gonna do
Well,
that.
because you and I talked about some new wording regarding foreign entities, because we actually had somebody for the umbrella website from Canada, and that flared that whole thing up.
Yeah, we've got things that we need to start putting in our RFPs.
Okay.
I got a lot of, contract provisions that you've got to have in your contracts if you get a grant. And we were talking about the fact that maybe we should just use that as our standard. Because it's a very high, it's a very, high standard, and if we need to negotiate it, we can. But actually, I've been looking at some RFPs from other people in the state of New York, which I admit, I will plagiarize any chance I get. And they listed some very important points of ways that we can phrase things, and there's a lot of statutory language that you sort of have to put in there, even though it has
Okay.
probably has nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
But the grant committee wants. to put it in.
So are you comfortable with taking a first stab at that and then?
I'd like to do it in connection with maybe Bill, we haven't met, but just only because I read your RFP and it was really well written, and I think maybe if it's the governance committee or whoever it would be, who wants to have the fun? I mean.
I'll play.
Yeah.
So why, if you two want to start on it,
Yeah, we'll talk after the meeting.
yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, and then we can do a bare bones and
Yeah,
see what we can do.
yeah. I mean, there's rough drafts in the Google Drive, right, that
Yeah.
we use as a base.
But I have to look at the grant itself request because I don't know.
Oh,
anything
yeah,
about
yeah,
that
don't
yet.
know. And that's out there as well.
Yeah, and then we can see what we can do. And then if we need G to, eyeball it for us maybe, but I think we can probably do, based on what I think you've done already, Bill, I think we could probably handle it.
Hello, welcome. Come in.
Thank you.
We're waiting for the rest of the part of the joint meeting.
So one other thing before we adjourn, I'd just like to bring up a discussion of getting a couple of additional inserts for the sign over there. They're about $25 to $30 each, but to do some more themes. Right now, obviously, that's just the life of Cape Vincent, but looking at fishing, shopping, some of our festivals, boating, villa, if we really want to be controversial, and the ferry, but just additional pieces that as Sherry goes out there and goes to these places, we have some specific,
Statement,
yeah. Like I said, they're $29 each, so we don't need
Speak of the
a
devil.
motion for that, but if everybody's in agreement, I'll start searching for that.
I think it'd
Sounds
be great,
good.
to make sure we have the fishing one for when she goes to that.
Yeah. so the
Yeah, so these
fishing
are
thing-
inserts for the sandwich sign?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, they're cardboard, they're corrugated, and they've got a coating on them, so they don't get wet immediately, but just to get some more of those out.
Yep.
If nobody has any issues, I'll just go ahead and move forward.
Right, so I'd like a motion to adjourn our meeting.
I'll make that motion.
And we got a second. All right. So, hello, public. Thank you for joining.